Students and teachers of Kumasi Academy have been undergoing antibiotic treatment a day after some parents stormed the school to withdraw their awards over a number of unexplained deaths there. Health officials have been struggling to diagnose the condition, which claimed the first death in April and has claimed the lives of 8 students to date, with about 19 others on admission. The Regional Health Director, Emmanuel Tinkran, tells Joy News their checks so far suggest a strange ailment that's unfamiliar to them.
What they are saying is that it must be a bacterial infection, but what bacteria or whatever it is, they don't know. Noguchi Institute have ruled out CSM. So at this point, that is why we need further investigation and scanning to make sure that we can get to the bottom of it. At this time, we'll say that it's an infection. We don't know exactly what it is, and that is why the Mass Drug Administration is critical, so that it can protect the children in the meantime until we get to the bottom of it, and then other medical processes will follow. Thank you.
Would you support the call that
any parent to take their children home at this time? Go through the Mass Drug Administration. Make sure your child is protected before you take him or her home. But happen, but I want to protect them first before we do. So if you've taken your child home, bring the child back to begin the drug administration. If you're a day student, you come in, you take your drug, the next day you come, you administer the drug, the third day you are done. Then you can go home and allow the health authorities to uncover what has been eluding us and causing this havoc on our students.
Over 1,000 students as of Wednesday morning had been administered a 3-dose antibiotic to help curb further transmission of the suspected bacterial infection. Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Minister is asking the media to support officials in the management of the situation. Simon Osei-Mensah wants the media to avoid sensationalism and publication of false reports.
Now, they propose, together with the World Health Organization, they propose that we should give a 3-day dosage to all the students, the teachers and non-teaching staff, that whoever works within the confines of the school must take the dose. We started yesterday, and as most of you are aware, when we got there, most of the students had gone out because the parents had come for them. The day students were also not around. So we started the dosage with the few who were in school. Today they are continuing. Yesterday, by close of the, as we've been briefed, they had just about 200. But as at 10, they had over 1,000, which means that the students are returning to school to take the dose. We will monitor the situation up to Saturday. Then all of us will assemble and meet and know the extent of the success or otherwise of the dose that they are giving to the students, and then the teachers and then the non-teaching staff. Having dealt with that, then we can come out with the final decision as to whether we are closing the school on day A or day B, and possibly for how long. Because the investigation is going to be long. It's not going to be so simple. They are going to look at all the dormitories and the classrooms. They will examine the kitchen, the dining hall. They will examine the water that they take in the school. They will scan the whole environment and even beyond the walls of the school. Because if you realize that the place is dumpy, we have all sorts of water bodies around the school, we may need to scan all those places to ensure that the bacteria is not coming from any of these sources. When they are done with that, then we are able to identify which atypical type of bacteria is causing this. Then we will decide to know when the students will be coming back to school. When the school is closed, initially it will be extremely difficult to give specific dates for which they can return. So far, all of us are on the same page. The Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Regional Coordinating Council, the Municipal Assembly, all of us are on the same page.
In a related development, Health Minister Kwaku Agyeman has come in for heavy criticism from MPs for what they say is a poor management of the disease outbreak at Kumasi Academy in the Ashanti region. They claim leadership at the ministry is managing the cases ineffectively. Official figures indicate 8 students have so far died from the mysterious disease since April this year. The minister, who was summoned to Parliament over the issue Wednesday, told MPs experts are working to contain the situation.
Surveillance has been intensified throughout the municipality, not only in the school. Records review of OPD register at the school sick bay is ongoing. All cases being referred to KNUST Hospital and others from the sick bay. That is what has been designated. So we try as much as possible to advise that all cases should go to this hospital. Follow-up visits on cases at KNUST and Kopanochi by the team that is at the moment handling the matter. Line list has been developed for suspected cases. Emergency meetings have been held between health and the school authorities. A team from the national level deployed to support the region and the district to support their response activities with the following terms of reference. To ensure there is adequate logistic support to the region and the affected municipality. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, we have managed to send close to about 100,000 Ghana cedi for these initial public health interventions. To establish epidemic in Kumaka, stop further transmission, to ensure effective case management, to protect school population at risk, to educate the school population, and to submit reports with recommendations to prevent further occurrences to the public. The Regional Health Directorate is requested to provide additional support to the sick bay and to deploy a medical officer, preferably with a public health background, on temporary basis for about a month until the situation normalizes. For now, we are doing chemotherapy, prophylaxis, trying to give whatever medication that can prevent further infections to the students in the school. Unfortunately, last night, Mr. Speaker, what information came up was that parents have taken the awards from the school. And this has become another health challenge because the medical advice said that we should contain them in the school and manage them more efficiently. So the problem we're now having is that if the disease is confirmed as a very contagious disease, then it will mean those who have come out of the school into their family homes are also going to help spread the disease. So that is a challenge we are confronted with at the moment.
But the MPs are not happy with how the situation is being handled. Deputy Ranking Member of Parliament Health Committee, Dr. Robert Kuganab Lem, says leadership has collapsed at the ministry and this is responsible for the ineffective management of the disease. He says the health ministry must immediately evacuate the students from the campus.
There's no leadership. He could have on his own held press conferences every 5 to 6 hours to brief Ghanaians what actions are being taken to contain the situation. We are not seeing this. What do you want parents to do? To sit back home? No, they can't. They have to rush there to see what is happening to their wards. And this is dangerous for everybody. It is dangerous for everybody. It is not the headmaster who has to tell parents, don't come and take your kids. No, no, no. Why? It is not him. It is those who know or who should know that should tell parents what to do in situations like this.
So the authorities have failed?
They have failed miserably. It is a miserable failure on the part of healthcare leadership led by the Honorable Minister. He has failed completely. And there's nothing that can exonerate him from this massive failure.
What would you have him do?
Why are the results not yet in. There must be an emergency response to public health disasters of this nature. And so if you do not trigger those responses, your results will be delayed. What can be done now is to make sure that we have a clinic on site, that we quarantine the area, that we move most of the students to a side camp and fumigate the whole place. That is what we have to do.
Personally, I think that we should have done more than what we have done so far, to the extent that we had initial deaths in March, April, and we are now in December. Maybe we should have been more proactive in trying to get to the bottom of that issue. But
the system possibly failed all of us, you think?
I believe that with all the facilities that we have at our disposal, the fact that even with Ebola, we were able to map out a very good strategy to save the country and prevent us from getting the infection. We should have been more proactive with what we did. And I believe that the health apparatus in the country will do better. Because some of these things, once you take your eye off the ball, certain things can deteriorate. So we are only hoping that we say better late than never. The minister has assured us that the right steps are being taken. We've now brought in WHO to come and support the system to try and unravel the mystery behind some of these deaths. I expect that all the needed actions will be taken so that our young men and women in Kumasi and environs will be safe.
Well, saying with Parliament, Minority Chief Whip and MP for Asawase, where the school is located, Muntaka Mubarak, is pushing for closer collaboration between the education and health ministries to resolve the problem.
Me as the MP, the school authority, all of us who are so close are getting direct information. You panic. The simple reason why you panic is that you know that if they don't know the cause and you ask the children to go, there could be these consequences. If you keep them in school and the causal agent that is causing this is within the school, more students will be affected. So it's like you are torn. Which are you doing? But I think that with the broad spectrum antibiotics, which slows down whatever disease that it may be, it is better the children come to take the antibiotics and probably go home. So that we'll all be monitoring, maybe within the next few days, if they're able to know exactly what the problem is, then we know, oh, you're staying home is not useful, so come back. Oh, you're staying home, or even the rest that are on campus should all move out for us to take ABCD action. So that's why it is difficult and you are seeing this contradiction, because depending on what you say it is, it may not be necessary for them to evacuate the school. It may also be necessary for them to evacuate the school. So that's why the dice. But I think that the Minister of Education, Minister of Health should quickly put their heads together so that they'll be able to take a tentative decision. Because when you allow the Minister of Education, they don't have health background. All they think is that, can we evacuate the school so that it will be easy? Everybody is with his parent, so that even somebody is sick and is with his parent, maybe the parent can take the person to hospital faster. They will be looking at it. But if you are from the health background, you know that allowing the children to go, if the disease is the type that can spread through body contact, you'll be doing more harm by allowing them to go. So they should come together so that they will take a different decision, not to do this front and back and creating more panic in the minds of parents. Because the students, you know the way the school selection system is. Someone may be coming from Novrongo is there. Somebody is coming from Takoradi is there. Parents hearing this on radio, obviously, can you imagine the confusion that you are putting there? So the school authorities, together with the ministries, should be able to take a tentative decision that they think will be in the best interest of the children and the school.
We're talking about best interest. Vice President of the Public Health Association, Dr. George Amufa, says parents who have withdrawn their children from the Kumasi Academy must return them so they could undergo the antibiotic treatment by the World Health Organization. Dr. Amufa says although government health professionals have taken the right steps so far, appropriate protocols like avoiding human contact ought to be observed. He adds there is an urgent need to conduct checks of the school's environment, urge parents and other visitors to stay away from the school and send samples of blood outside the country for further tests. He spoke earlier on The Pulse.
The first is to establish a clinical diagnosis, what will normally be that you suspect is based on the clinical signs and symptoms. I mean, some of them will be obvious, others may not be that obvious. Then you make sure that you manage those who are affected by the disease. I mean, in a proper hospital base. But before you are able to do that, you must confirm the suspicion, which is where the laboratory investigations come in. And they're taking samples to our national reference lab, the WHO recognized establishment, Noguchi. The process is definitely in line. What I'm not sure is whether they send some of the samples outside the country. I mean, that normally is also part of it, especially if the initial diagnosis is negative. Down, they've run almost all the tests, and we are yet to get the final test. Then there will be the epidemiological investigation. I mean, to find out who was affected, who were the contacts, where they came from, what is different from them, from those who are affected and those who are not affected.
Some members of parliament have called for evacuation and fumigation of the school, but Dr. Amofa says that is not necessarily an immediate step to take. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin, thousands, possibly tens of thousands of customers of the Electricity Company of Ghana are having to go without supply for days following a computer glitch that's taking down the prepaid electricity system.
Don't do anything. You just come and share this fine. They just go away. You have been here since morning. I've not even eaten.
Thousands, possibly tens of thousands of customers of the Electricity Company of Ghana in Accra who have in the last few days not had power are having to endure another long night without electricity. Not because they can't afford to buy power or because there's a general outage, but because of a computer glitch in the prepaid electricity vending system. Some of the customers who trooped to ECG offices to try and purchase electricity on Wednesday were tossed from one office to another until they became frustrated and resigned to their fate. Nancy Emefajiradozi, who has been interacting with some of the customers, however, reports they ensured the ECG staff had a fair share of their frustration before calling it quits for the day.
This was the atmosphere at the ECG office here at Veno in Accra as scores of customers trooped in to purchase electricity on their prepaid cards.
Now, they have been trying to buy power for the past 3 days and over, but they failed to tell them what exactly is happening, as most of them are being directed to go elsewhere to purchase power.
Officials at some point tried to calm the frustrated customers, but that did not go down too well.
We will take the particulars to the VIP. We'll go and do whatever we need to do for you. Then we call you to come for your card. But I don't go through this. No, we are. You see,
now most of these people share their frustrations with me. They take big salary. And they are worrying us. I just cook. I have to throw all my food away. I've not been to work since yesterday and today. What explanation have they been giving? They said I should leave my card. Leaving my card, I'm not even sure what will happen. What is all this?
So should I connect illegally? Because for 3 days now we can't buy lights. So then let's allow us to connect it. And then when they're able to solve the problem of people buying, then we come and buy. And then everybody who has done an illegal connection do the right thing.
Right now I'm supposed to be at work, but I'm roaming just looking for prepaid to buy, which is really bad.
The news team then decided to follow the customers to another office they had been directed to, only to discover more chaos. Scores of customers waiting to be served after several days without electricity. Here again, attempt by an ECG official to guide customers as to what they should do due an angry reaction. Some of them shared their frustrations with Joy News.
I came here 6. I have to go and work so that I go to school. I've been here since morning. They said I should put my card in this thing and return the paper. I've returned the paper since morning. There's no information. They have been here since morning. If one person should come and tell that they say, oh, you come and tell us, do this and do that. They don't do anything. They just come and share this paper and they just go away. You have been here since morning. I've not even eaten. It's someone because
I can't give the card to them.
How long have you been here?
Oh, 7 hours. I was here. I came here 7:30. 7:30. And look at the time now.
Though ECG officials say the problem has been rectified, many customers will, at least for tonight, be without utility.
All right, so even though the Electricity Company of Ghana keeps on saying that this situation has been resolved, the customers keep on complaining. So this was issued on Monday, on the 4th of December, where the Electricity Company of Ghana put this on their Facebook page. It says, the Electricity Company of Ghana wishes to inform the general public, especially BOT prepaid customers, that due to a technical challenge, customers are unable to vend. Customers in the following districts have been affected. And it goes on to say, Achimota, Korle Bu, Dansoman, and Kaneshie, ECG ICT experts are working assiduously to remedy the situation. ECG regrets the inconvenience caused as a result of this technical challenge. So at least they put out some information as far as what this challenge is concerned. But then they issued yet another publication, and this time they said BOT prepaid customers can now vend, and they go ahead to say the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited wishes to inform the general public, especially BOT prepaid customers within the Achimota, Korle Bu, Dansoman, and Kaneshie districts, that they can now vend. And this was put out on 5th December, that was yesterday. Now, customers who are unable to vend at their third-party vending points should visit their district offices to vend or purchase electricity. So I would want to believe that that is the reason why we had so many of the customers going to the Aveno substation to try and resolve their problems. But it just turned out that they couldn't get their problems resolved. And as a result, they're having to sleep or pass another night in darkness because this issue has not been resolved. We've been speaking with the Electricity Company of Ghana, and they keep on telling us that the issue has been resolved, except it still hasn't been resolved. We're taking a break now on Joy News Prime. We will bring you business news thereafter, so stay tuned.
Hello again, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. The Ghana Revenue Authority GRA has ordered oil marketing company Allied Oil to halt all payments due construction firm Ace Facade following failure by the company to comply with the country's tax regulations. The company has since 2014 defaulted in the payment of income tax and other levies amounting to about 5 million Ghana cedis to the Ghana Revenue Authority. Ebenezer Sabute joined the GRA task force in an operation today and has filed this report.
According to the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, its investigations reveal that Ace Facade has been engaged in some construction works for Allied Oil, an oil marketing company in the country. Addressing the media during a tour of the company's premises, the GRA said it believes a sure way of getting the directors to pay the about 5 million cedi tax default is by serving a notice to Allied Oil to freeze any further payment to the firm. Chief Revenue Officer at the GRA, John Yabuabing, has been explaining to the media the action taken.
We have sent the garnishment order on Allied Oil that any monies due to be paid to Ace Facade must be directed to Ghana Revenue Authority by Section 60 and 61 of the Revenue Administration Act. All monies which are due to be paid to the contractor, due to be paid to Ace Facade, must now be directed to Ghana Revenue Authority. They have also received a letter and they will send it to the managing director and they will effect the needed.
Yabuabing, in an interview with Joy Business, outlined the relationship between the two companies.
Allied Oil is not connected in this liability per se. Ace Facade, the company which we came to collect the tax from, is undertaking a project for Allied Oil. So since we couldn't locate any of their premises to get we came here, through investigations, we came here to come and attach any property on site belonging to Ace Facade. That is how come we were here. However, we've been told by the project manager that they have also absconded. They have left the project in limbo. They are nowhere to be found. So the next thing will be, we'll serve a garnishment order on Allied Oil. We'll serve an order on Allied Oil. If there is any money which must be paid Ace Facade, they will have to direct it to Ghana Revenue Authority.
The tour by GRA Wednesday began at Adabraka and Osu in the Greater Accra region, where some other defaulting companies were located.
Corporate Relations Director for Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited, Gabriel Opoku Asare, is appealing to government to liaise with stakeholders of the manufacturing industry to enable them formulate policies to enhance the development of the sector. The call comes as government aspires to move the economy to an industry and production-based one. Speaking to Joy Business at the launch of the annual Don't Drink and Drive campaign, Gabriel Opoku Asare noted such consultations will help address some outstanding challenges.
The Don't Drink and Drive campaign emanated from a commitment by global beer and spirit producers to reduce the effects of harmful drinking. For Guinness Ghana, embarking on this campaign is to educate consumers on safe drinking as well as shed light on the quality of their products. Speaking in an interview on the sidelines of the campaign, Corporate Relations Manager for Guinness Ghana, Gabriel Opoku Asare, appealed to government to work closely with industry players to formulate policies that best suit development of local manufacturers.
Government should make sure that they have industry at the heart of policy making. Once industry is at the heart of it, we can talk about the issues on the ground and how to address and how to model these policies to drive industry growth. And one example of such policy is the Customs and Excise Act 903 of 2015, which has enabled us to source local raw material locally. Without that act, it wouldn't be feasible. I would say it wouldn't make business sense for us to source locally. So getting private buy-in into government policy at the initial stages is critical.
He also advocated for the creation of more infrastructural developments in the agri sector to enhance access to raw materials locally.
So we currently source 48% of our local raw materials from Ghana. We source sorghum, maize, cassava, all from Ghana. For us, we want to source more, right? And that means helping farmers to improve their use by giving them fertilizer, by letting them understand how to plant properly and also get higher use, right? For us, we guarantee supply and we can use the production of our drinks for Ghanaians. Currently, we are not at the best state yet. If you look at local grains comparatively to imports, the prices are quite high, and these are due to, I would say, the value chain challenges, transportation, the use, and all of that. I would say infrastructural challenges are fixed. So once you produce on the farm, you can get it easily to Accra, you can get it to our breweries. You have middlemen who actually have good business models, and they can provide financing to help the farmers. All of these things will culminate in getting the prices down and having good use. And with that, obviously, price will drop.
This year's Don't Drink and Drive campaign by Guinness Ghana Limited is the 5th edition since its inception.
Board chairman of newly launched Ghana Home Loans Bank says the new universal bank will prioritize reducing the housing deficit in Ghana by at least 10% in the coming months. The huge deficit in Ghana, which stands at 1.7 million, is largely based on the high rate of mortgages in the country. Charles Aite has more in the following report.
GHL Bank coincides with some concerns on easing up requirements for access to mortgages in Ghana. Speaking at the event, board chairman of GHL Bank, Albert Essien, says the bank will address all issues related to home acquisition in Ghana.
We are aggressively going to build on our current clientele base with our complete products and services for the various private individual segments and the corporate verticals. We at GHL Bank are committed to deliver cutting-edge solutions that will enable private individuals and businesses realize their full potential in creating wealth. There is a lot of opportunity in the property financing in our country. And these should be good times for those who would seize the chances being offered by GHL Bank.
On his part, First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, says the regulator will be exploring innovative ways of helping all local banks like GHL Bank with special directions to remain relevant in the financial market.
As the supervisory authority, it is our prime responsibility to ensure that newly established financial institutions, as well as existing ones, have adequate capital to match the risk profile of the business they wish to undertake, and that they have the capacity to assume and manage risk prudently so that we can protect the soundness of the financial system as a whole.
Deputy Minister for Water Works and Housing, Frida Prempeh, has appealed to home finance institutions like GHL Bank to review requirements needed for prospective homeowners seeking to secure mortgages.
I don't intend to dwell on theories and statistics regarding housing needs and housing delivery. The problem of shortage of housing is real and requires practical considerations and solutions. By all accounts, the country has not been able to meet its average annual housing requirements for any period during the last 2 decades.
The GHL Bank comprises a 15-member management team with Dominic Edu being managing director.
Imani Ghana is calling on government to urgently address the inherent poor business registration processes in Ghana. This follows a recent World Bank report indicating Ghana had dropped 12 places on the ease of doing business rankings. Founding president and CEO of Imani, Franklin Cudjoe, who was speaking to Joy Business at a business forum organized by Imani in Accra, stated the recently outlawed online registration process by the Registrar General Department needed a complete overhaul to streamline registration procedures.
The business forum, organized by Imani Ghana's Center for Policy and Education, brought together stakeholders in the business community for a conversation on how to improve the current business environment for small businesses. This is against the backdrop of the latest World Bank Ease of Doing Business report, where Ghana declined 12 steps from the 108th position last year to 120th this year. Speaking to Joy Business at the forum, Franklin Cudjoe highlighted some complexities in business registration process which needed to be addressed.
I think right now the most important thing for this government to do is to focus on making sure that our business processes are simplified to the extent that this whole business of asking people to generate TIN numbers before they can formalize their businesses should be done away with. It should be scrapped. Look, 12 years ago I was in Hong Kong, and together with other foreigners who were not from Hong Kong, we registered a business in 1 hour. Nobody asked us for TIN numbers. Nobody, and Hong Kong consistently is in the top 5 countries of doing business properly and very competitive. We have lagged so much behind that. Rwanda, that came from the cold, especially from war, has overtaken us by just investing in simple processes. What we saw here today is an atrophy, because you and I saw that the only thing we can do on the Registrar General Department's platform is to fill certain basic information. But you are virtually stuck because you now have to go to another department, because the online platform takes you to another platform where you'd have to go and generate a TIN number, which is not automated, but it's offline. And without that TIN number, you can virtually not register your business. This is not a serious country.
Lawyer and business strategist Kofi Bentel of Imani also added his voice to the call.
We are trying to alert the institutions in charge that something is wrong with your processes. Somebody wants to get a tax identification number. On paper, it's supposed to be easy, but in reality, it's not easy. Somebody is supposed to register a business. On paper, it's supposed to be easy. In reality, it's not easy. Somebody is supposed to pay their taxes. On paper, it's supposed to be easy. In reality, it's not easy. And if everybody is complaining, or most people are saying the same thing, the problem is not the people, it is the system. Because the system has been made to fit, the people. And the problem is that money is a coward. Money does not like resistance. Okay, people who have or want to do a business or want to invest in one place or the other, especially international investors, when they come and they meet 1, 2, 3, blockages, regardless of why, they're going to move to the next place. And it is reflecting in our fall in the doing business index and all those other indices that we have shown you over here. And so what we are trying to tell the organizations is, please don't be too defensive and don't keep telling us all the nice things you've done, but try and find out really whether it's working or not.
However, according to the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, they are working on addressing some of these setbacks. Principal Investment Promotion Officer Frances Chiama, on her part, said the center is working with other state institutions to generate an integrated platform for easy and quick business registration.
Right, yeah, we are actually looking at a one-stop shop, and we've actually started the process of getting that done. It's going to be a virtual one because we're not going to have physical people sitting in our offices and getting the job done. Other institutions that we are looking at is the customs, that's the GRA, the customs side of it, Registrar General, EPA, FDA, the central bank maybe, because some of the companies, depending on which sector you're actually operating in, you might have to register or get permit from the central bank. Some of them will have to go to FDA, some will have to go to EPA. So these are some of the government agencies that we'll be collaborating with to get the virtual system in place.
Besides business registration, stakeholders also agreed there was a need for proper sensitization of small business holders on how to file tax returns.
And that's all in business tonight. Thanks so much for your attention. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. There's more news ahead with Israel. Don't go away.
A truck transporting LPG on Wednesday morning overturned on the Accra-Tema motorway, resulting in chaotic scenes on the route. Commuters fearing the LPG was leaking fled in all directions, jamming traffic on both the Accra and Tema-bound lanes for hours. Personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service and the Road Safety Management Services Limited, who arrived at the scene, managed to tow the gas tanker. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba was there and now reports.
We're currently here at the Tema motorway where a gas tanker has actually turned over on its sides here. We have personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service trying to control the situation right now. But this has caused some kind of gridlock on the westbound section of the motorway. So for vehicles to move into the Central Business District, have to move a bit slower now. A section of the road has also been cordoned off just to provide some safety to commuters who are heading to the Central Business District. Some moments ago, a towing vehicle just arrived here on the scene and is ready to tow the gas tanker away. On a regular day, you cannot be standing in the middle of the Tema motorway, but that has happened now as both sections of the road have been closed to traffic. Vehicles moving to the Central Business District, and for those moving eastwards towards the Tema and its environs, are unable to move.
My name is Gio2 Samuel Obodati, the Regional Operations Officer, Tema. Here there's gas content in it. We have ensured that the valve is shut. We have also the tube that actually we have actually discharged it, make sure that there's no gas in the tube. And then we have also disconnected the battery terminal. There's no power actually with the vehicle. We have ensured all leakages, so there's no leakage on the vehicle at the moment. And then at the moment we consider we have the towing vehicle here to tow it, and we ensure that we protect it, make sure that there's no leakage. We have also diverted the road such a way that there will not be any problem. So there's no problem at the moment. Just a leakage, yes, but we managed to work on it. We apply foam compound to make sure that we blanket the whole place, not to have any problem, so that we don't have any naked light coming to it.
The westbound section of the Tema motorway has been temporarily closed. All these vehicles heading to the Central Business District would have to wait for the vehicle to be towed before they can move. That has created some gridlock at the tail end of this motorway.
In traffic for almost about 15 minutes now. And then I'll have some place to go, but there's a lot of traffic around this area. So I don't know how to move and get to the place very quickly. So maybe if you can open the road a little for us to, when the traffic is jammed, then we can know how to do.
Now, hospitals' ability to deliver quality healthcare is severely impaired when it lacks medical supplies. Sadly, though, this is a situation in which many health facilities in Ghana find themselves due to the failure of the National Health Insurance Scheme to reimburse them for attending to its subscribers. Babli Polyclinic in the Upper West Region, Savelugu Hospital in the Northern Region, and the Evangelical Church of Ghana Hospital at Pandai say they have all not been paid for 16 months. Jojo Kobna assesses how non-payment of insurance claims is affecting delivery of health care at these facilities.
This is the Babli Polyclinic in the lower district of the Upper West Region. From the outside, everything looks glossy, but a closer look reveals empty shelves in the pharmacy. Health workers here are not happy with the situation because they've been forced to tell the public to get medication elsewhere. At the Evangelical Church of Ghana Hospital at Pandai, the hospital lacks essential medication for emergency surgeries such as cesarean section, so patients are forced to dig deep into their pocket to buy medicine.
What time do you think this one will start?
It depends on the time
the doctor will finish.
No, they will bring the drugs from town.
These people drug, but you don't have drug. What kind of drugs?
The infusions.
Like Ringes, normal saline, and then you don't have the D5.
Yes.
How? What happened? The insurance is owing us and they are not paying us. For the past 18 or 60 months, the insurance is not paying us. So we are doing our own pakapa to run the place.
Medical Superintendent of the Evangelical Church of Ghana Hospital, Dr. Sonla Joseph, is very unhappy. He has been sued by 2 pharmaceutical companies for failing to pay debts.
And over 98% of the clients who come here have health insurance. And we submitted July 2016, 20th of September 2016 last year. And up to now, no payments have been made from this. We are no longer credit worthy. Suppliers will not give us. And those who have supplied us that for a very long time, because insurance owned and will not be able to pay, have sued the hospital in court. And among them, Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has given us a demand notice for us to pay the money, and they gave us 2 weeks. And the amount they were demanding, even if I sell the hospital, I can't even pay. The second company that sued this hospital is JY Pharmacy. JY Pharmacy also sued the hospital and demanded payment of their monies. And that again had to stop working in the hospital and move to the region, Tamale, to negotiate out of court settlement.
Staff to be paid from internally generated funds have not been paid for more than a year, and SNIT has taken a legal action against the hospital.
Just some few weeks ago, SNIT dragged me to court, Yendi, because I've not been able to pay the few staff that are on IGF their SNIT contribution. Again, I had to go to court to explain, and he took the judge to have reasoning with me and pleaded with that. It wasn't a plea. He ordered SNIT that if insurance owed the hospital, what do you expect doctor to do? At least have a round table discussion and negotiate a way out. And that is what is giving me some briefing space. And so I'm supposed to run a hospital, provide health insurance service to the people, but the government agreement in terms of the national health insurance thing is not coming, and it makes me get frustrated.
If the National Health Insurance Authority fails to redeem payment of hospital claims, many facilities will continue to suffer. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
This is Joy News Prime.
Now, an attack by suspected armed robbers at Wager Mile 11 here in Accra has left residents in the community quite insecure. 2 men who owned a shop in the area were shot by the armed men. And though they survived and are recovering in hospital, the residents say the attacks are becoming too rampant. They recounted some of the recent attacks and appealed to the security agencies to do something about the situation. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba has more.
Area
we are not safe. Talking of robbery and other things that is going on here, we are not safe. You can't walk around 10, 11 to 12. You'll be attacked by these guys around. It's about 2 months ago, about 3 ladies were raped here, where they were from town coming, and they got attacked and they were raped. Before this coming Thursdays, 2 weeks, 2 people was just shot around here. So we're not saved.
They were shot where?
They were shot in this shop.
What exactly happened?
What happened is that the guy closed around 11:30 going home. So when he got to the junction, there he remembered his phone. So the 2 of them came back to pick the phone. Immediately he opened the shop, enters. These 2 guys were covered, faces came with gun, and he was attacked and then they were shot. By then, so in fact, we're not safe here. Police will come and then guide us. We need them in the evenings, because if not so, then you can't go any place. When you are working in town and you close late in the night, you are afraid of coming home.
One of the men who was shot rushed from that distance very close to the Finney Hospital to this garage here, where he carefully went under this big gate right here. If you get closer to this gate, you can still see the stains of blood on the wall, and then on the gate itself here inside the garage.
Now, this place is not secure because the armed robbers attack them, they collect their phones and stuff like that. So now, my level is not secure because we need police to come and patrol here every evening. The problem, because
as part of efforts to curb the attacks that some of the residents here say they are experiencing, well, they've taken the initiative to actually burn some of the bushes around this place. They say that it has gradually become a haven for some of these attackers, and it's important for them to nip the situation in the bud.
Times ago, there is a guy here selling provision stores, a drink and something. The armed robbers came here 2 times. The first one, they come here, attack, take all his money, go. The second time, they warn him they will come back on 3 days' time. So the next day, the guy suspects some guys, so they go for police, come catch that 2 guys. So the next day, for the 3 days, they come for the money. They came here with a gun, coming from this bush with a gun, 3 people coming with a gun. So they shoot the guy. That time it's around 9:30 going. When they shoot the guy, go the next day, some guys here take some catras, come and clear the bush here, so that if sometimes someone is coming from here, someone can see him. Yeah, from the whole junction to the top here, there, it's very dangerous. There's one of my friends. As for that one there, I've seen it around 10 o'clock. He's coming to his boyfriend here. They attack him here and rape the girl naked. The girl came home with naked. The next day when he came here, the bag was here and the girl trial is here. So here, there, from 10 o'clock going there, you can't pass this road.
Also, a combined team of small-scale mining task force and the Central Region Police have arrested 15 illegal miners who were mining on the Fin River. The clampdown, according to the team, is to reinforce government fight against Galamsey and to protect the rivers and water bodies in the Central Region. Richard Kojunyako has more in the following report.
The activities of illegal miners on the country's rivers and water bodies were one of the main issues that provoked government fight against Galamsey. For a period of 6 months, government has banned all small-scale and other illegal mining activities. An anti-Galamsey task force has been set to police the environment to ensure that government's commitment to the fight against Galamsey was carried to the letter. But while many others have agreed to government and other anti-Galamsey pressures to halt Galamsey activities, there are many others that cannot be bothered. On the Fin River, one of the major rivers that serve people in the Central Region, many young men, their ages ranging between 16 and 42, were spotted on their machine digging and polluting the river. Many bolted upon seeing the police and the task force, while 15 of them were arrested by the task force. Central Regional Police Commander COP David Nenyi Ampabenyin has been speaking to Joy News.
Upon a tip-off and consistent meddling of the Ofinsu River, laid ambush and identified these people. There are about 15 of them. They were in the machine on the top of the river, mining, and in that sense, mining the river. Police were able to arrest 15 of them. Others escaped by swimming in the river. We want to sound a note of caution that in as much as we are waiting for the vanguard to take off, people who want to secretly mine in our rivers, we will apprehend all of them and they will be made to face the full rigors of the law. The small-scale mining association in Dukofin and its environs, in conjunction with the police, are behind this arrest, and they are working tirelessly to ensure that those who have gone on the river where police cannot reach, they are being exposed and arrested.
Members of Parliament are calling on government to immediately introduce a Parliament to the House, a legislative instrument that will allow for the establishment of an HIV/AIDS fund. They say this is crucial to keep the campaign to deal with the disease ongoing, even as donors withdraw funding for various HIV projects. In a statement to commemorate AIDS Day, Chairman of Parliament's Health Committee, Dr. Kwabena Chum Nuama, said this is an urgent matter that the AIDS Commission should act on.
We can achieve these lofty targets only with expanded human resources for HIV, funding, efficient supply chain management, and good health governance. The Speaker, unfortunately, donor funding has dwindled over the years. Currently, Ghana has only 2 donor partners for HIV, namely the Global Fund to fight AIDS, TB, and malaria, and the U.S. President's Emergency Program for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. PEPFAR will discontinue funding by the end of 2019 if nothing changes, while there are uncertainties about global Fund going beyond 2020. It is in this recognition that the Ghana AIDS Commission Act 3938, in Section 20, establishes the National HIV and AIDS Fund. My understanding is that this section has still not been operationalized. The object of the fund is to mobilize domestic resources to fund the national program. The Ghana AIDS Commission, as a result of this, is currently facing serious financial challenges in executing its program, and if these are not addressed as early as possible, all the gains made will be reversed. It is hoped that this House and the government will support the Ghana AIDS Commission with the needed resources to execute their program, so that as a country we can win the war against HIV/AIDS. The Speaker, it will not be acceptable in the situation for anybody to die from AIDS.
MP for Hohoe, Dr. Bernice Adiku Hello, expressed concern there has been a lax in the campaign against the disease and called on stakeholders to sit up.
Because of the lack of awareness, most people think that HIV is no longer a threat in our community. Mr. Speaker, I'm here to say that the threat of HIV continues to be real, and as such, all of us have to come together to fight the menace. Mr. Speaker, today, what UNAIDS and other health organizations have brought up 3 main issues that we must consider as we celebrate the World AIDS Day. The first one is to remember the lives that have been lost. The Speaker, indeed, I was an HIV/AIDS activist in the early 90s, and it was such a painful moment in my life and also in the lives of other people to see people die You see them dying, and they die in your face, with you being very helpless because there was no medication and there was no way one could help them. We thank God that today we have antiretroviral treatment. All the same, we have to remember that we had gone through that phase in our lives where the pandemic really brought a lot of havoc to our societies. As we remember them, we must also know that there are people who are living with the pandemic or are living with the infection today. And we have to ensure that these people are given the support that is needed. We must stop discrimination.
The Volta region is aiming to bring to an end open defecation by June 2019. Launching a campaign to end the practice and improve sanitation, Deputy Volta Region Minister Maxwell Blagoji urged local governments to map out strategies towards achieving the target. Correspondent Fred Kwame Asare sent in this report.
Volta region is said to have the 5th highest rate of open defecation in the country. As at the end of 2016, the region had been able to attain only 15% of its target to eliminate open defecation. Only 264 out of 4,393 communities had attained open defecation-free status. Karachi and Chumuru, Karachi West, North Tongu, South Tongu, and Central Tongu all recorded 0%, with Kejebi district recording the highest rate of 38%. Water, Health and Sanitation Specialist Loretta Roberts advised the Volta Region Coordinating Council to follow the example of the Northern region by adopting a strategy that has helped to eradicate open defecation in over 1,000 communities in the north.
Allow me to share with you a secret that accounts for this massive progress by the Northern region. The region has in the past year implemented the sanitation league table for all its districts with biannual assessments and media publicity. This succeeded mainly because it was spearheaded by the regional minister with the backing of the entire regional coordinating council.
Deputy Volta Regional Minister Maxwell Blagoji charged municipal and district chief executives to come up with innovative strategies that will end the bad practice and improve sanitation.
In order to improve our environmental sanitation situation in the region, municipal and district assemblies need to take pragmatic steps towards sanitation improvement. And I hope, with the support of the Regional Coordinating Council and also all other stakeholders gathered here in this hall, we shall succeed. The Regional Coordinating Council is very pleased that the community-led total sanitation, CLTS, which is one of the strategies being used to bring about improved sanitation in Ghana, has been piloted in Volta region.
District Chief Executive for North Dayi Kujo Atta assured all 25 municipal and district assemblies are committed to achieving the target by mid-2019.
As DCs in the Volta region, we are conscious of the fact that having a clean environment, for that matter, open defecation-free environment, matters to us. And we will benefit more also, because the money that we will be spending dealing with the hazards of defecation would have been channeled into other usages. And so we have no alternative than to religiously give our affirmation to the cause that we are fighting.
The nationwide Open Defecation-Free Social Norms campaign seeks to create awareness on the dangers of open defecation and associated health effects. The campaign, which is sponsored by UNICEF, targets behavior change. Fred Kwame Asare's report for Joy News.
She has been described by her friends and teachers as an intelligent child. It is her dream to become a doctor one day, but that dream is gradually fading away at the children's ward of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, where she's been on admission. 6-year-old Joy Kranting is battling acute myeloid leukemia. a type of cancer characterized by the rapid growth of abnormal white blood cells that build up in the bone marrow and interfere with the production of normal blood cells. Joy's family is desperately in need of about $50,000 to get her treated in South Africa. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba again has more in this report.
I am on the 3rd floor of the children's ward at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. I've met the mother of little Joy. She has been staying at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital since her daughter was admitted at the medical facility. Inside the oncology ward of the hospital, the little girl lies on her sick bed. Her sister stands some distance away from her with her mouth and nose covered as doctors have advised, because Joy's condition has made it easier for her to pick up infections. Her mother sits in a plastic chair on the corridor of the hospital as she narrates to me how the 6-year-old girl's leukemia started.
Getting to 3 months now, 2.5 months ago, when she started having fevers. Like any child would sometimes have some bodily pains, and so we thought, okay, we should go to the hospital. And after the first line of treatment, it seemed she was getting better, and so we went back home, only to rush back to the emergency because now her fever was not settling at all.
Joy's mother tells me she has already spent lots of money in the treatment process.
Sometimes just prescription for 5 days is over 300 Ghana cedis. And so if we multiply only that by 3 months, I'm sure, just about 350 Ghana cedis times 3 months. I'm sure you can guess how much we have spent on just one type of antibiotics. Joy is going to be 7 on the 15th of December. And that's something on her mind. Sometimes the question comes up, she will ask me, Mommy, so am I still going to be here in the hospital when it's my birthday? And sometimes I just don't know what to say, because really I can't tell.
Joy's mother no longer has joy in her heart as she watches her daughter grow lean by the day. She's appealing for support.
It just hit us with that news that this particular kind of leukemia would require treatment, proper treatment, full treatment outside the country at a cost of at least $50,000. How was I ever going to raise $50,000? And if Korle Bu couldn't handle it and we couldn't raise the money, I mean, that was just like a death sentence for my lovely little girl. My prayer is that the kind people of Ghana would donate so that as soon as possible we can head to South Africa, which the consultants and the team of doctors here recommend, so that she can have the full treatment.
Remember, you can help save little Joy by donating to the MTN mobile money number 024 595 802. Let me read it again. 024 595 8002. You can also send your contributions to Barclays Bank account number 037 100 7695. 037 100 7695. The account name is Anna Abuajua Kranting. And in the headlines, the health minister is coming for heavy criticism over his handling of the unexplained disease outbreak at Kumasi Academy, even as parents and guardians demand a withdrawal of the awards. The health minister, however, insists it is in the best interest of public health that authorities are allowed to contain the situation on the school's campus. Thousands, possibly tens of thousands of customers of the Electricity Company of Ghana are having to go without electricity supply for yet another day following a computer glitch that's taking down the prepaid electricity system. There was chaos on the motorway Wednesday morning after a gas tanker overturned on the route, holding up traffic for hours. In business, the Ghana Revenue Authority has ordered Allied Oil to hold all payments due an Accra-based construction firm following the failure by the company to comply with tax regulations.